I have blown Project Bluebeam out of the fucking water. There is no way anybody can tell me that the King of Kings and Lord of all is going to be punching through the clouds at any time. No, it's going to be a fake, holographic, projected coming of the kingdom. Hey YouTube, it's Eric from the Ancient of Days, back onto my primary channel. After we had that week suspension, then I said I was coming right back after the snowstorm. Things always pop up. I'm never saying when I'm coming back ever again. And unfortunately, you won't be able to see me. I wanted to look at you guys today in the camera, but in order for me to do that, I'd have to restart the computer, and I just don't feel like pulling up 22 tabs. On Monday by the afternoon, my wife was so ill that we had to bring her to get a CAT scan on her chest. Turns out she was put in a hospital for a pretty severe pneumonia, and she's been there since Monday. The hospital at Hartford, Connecticut is so packed, she didn't get a room until last night. The patients were being kept in the hallway because she was in such serious condition. They had her in one of the emergency rooms that they keep patients in that really need to be looked after. But for those that were just there, they were kept in the hall. Okay, so she said it is just crazy there, madness. So she finally got a room. It's now Wednesday the 2nd of February 2022, and she said she's going to be there for several days more at least. We trust that she's going to be just fine, and that's why I didn't come back after the snowstorm. My head's been a wreck, and you know, guys, for those of you that have been following my channel for some time, you know my wife has been fighting for her life for some time now, and this goes all the way back to 2018 when I began to fast. So it's been 4 years pretty much of just non-stop draining, and that's where we're going to get into LOOSH spiritual energy. Right here's my BitChute channel. Not only do I mirror what I put onto the Ancient of Days, the main channel, or my backup channel, all the links are posted in the description box, but I do put up videos such as this, the latest one, that are too much for the YouTube guidelines or have been pulled. This is a great one to watch, okay? I am not here to change your beliefs, and I'm not here to crush your hopes. As well as the very first video I published on this channel was because it was removed from YouTube, even though it was just a remix of another video that I did, which was exactly as this, only this one came out much better. So this one here is IPEC GOAT C19 PCR test, and you guys could read the rest. If you're looking to understand what the synthetic telepathy is, right here on this playlist right here, synthetic telepathy, as well as Project Bluebeam right here, and V2K technology. These are the topics that people need to understand and come into grips with. And here they're going to start to grow off of, not today, the presentation I had on Monday was going to get right into this, but I have that presentation ready to go for my next video. The timeline deception, the millennial kingdom, alright? I am going to present the evidence, and I'm not asking you to believe anything. I'm asking you guys to use your discernment and start to ask yourselves, well, I feel strongly that once this evidence is presented, and I'm only going to spend maybe 1 or 2 videos tops on it, and perhaps 3, because I'm going to have a guest on that is going to go ahead and be able to explain this better than I ever could, and is going to capitalize and pretty much be the period at the end of the statement that the kingdom of Christ already manifested. It's not what everybody feels. I mean, in the temporal mind, we expect the kingdom of the Christ to be here on earth as heaven on earth. No, it was a spiritual manifestation. The ancient architecture, all of it, the coins we're going to get into, the maps, everything that I'm going to present to you is going to show you the truth. Now, Keith from Many Fish this morning, it's as if he and I are on the same psychic channel wavelength here, because it's like whenever I go to do a video and I'm like, well, what am I going to do it on today, because I passed up on Monday what video I was putting together. I'm still working on that. That'll be out next. So he puts this out because this is exactly what I'm talking about. If people are still looking for somebody to save you, anybody out there, if you're hoping that QAnon is telling you that, the white hats are coming to arrest all the pedophiles and save us from the tyranny that's falling upon the earth, all right? No, we need to let go of this world. Don't be in the forest looking around at all the trees. We need to get outside the forest so we could see the forest through the trees. Or you could say the analogy, be on the outside of the snow globe looking in, rather than inside the madness of the snow globe looking out, because that's really what it comes down to. After my near-death experience, I was outside the snow globe and have been looking in ever since, saying, why in the world can't people see what I see? And that's because the aperture of my imparted gifts through the spiritual lens, our first eye, which is the pineal gland. The pineal gland acts as a lens to higher ascended understanding and consciousness. Now, Elon Musk here tweets and supports the freedom of the convoy. Canadian truckers rule, Elon Musk tells us. Well, there's a good reason why he says that. Let's have a listen from Manny Fishers. This is his backup channel. I'll leave the link in the description box if you want to watch the entire 6-minute and 25-second video. But we're going to listen to just a little bit here because this plays into exactly what this presentation is about. Let's listen because he was hitting the nail right on the head.
I understand it. I see it. But I'm here to tell you that it's all leading to a great, great deception. Your hope is going to be smashed if you're putting it in man. When you see things like this, okay, one of the club members, billionaire club, and he's supporting the convoy, and then going back here, he's been very aggressively developing self-driving semi-trucks. You need to understand that he don't care about the truckers because they're going to replace them. And that's all there is to it. Here's a little piece of his presentation 5 years ago. Where do you think they're at now?
I can drive this thing, and I have no idea how to drive a semi. And it only gets better than this. Now, a Tesla truck considered by itself beats other diesel trucks. But what if you have a convoy? But what if you have a convoy? But what if you have a convoy? So what if you have two trucks following? So you're more like a train driver. In fact, the convoy technology, the tracking technology, this is something that we are confident we can do today 10 times safer than a human driver. This is something that we are confident we can do today 10 times safer than a human driver. So I want to be clear, this is something we can do now. Now if you look at the economics of a truck convoy, it gets way better. What this means is it's not just economic suicide to use one diesel truck, it's economic suicide for rail. This beats rail. And that's I think, really quite profound. We're confident that this is a product that is better in every way from a feature standpoint, that wins on economics against diesel trucks in a worst-case scenario, and that
No driver equals good economics. Well, because no drivers equals good economics, that's exactly why Elon Musk tweets support for Freedom Convoy. Canadian truckers rule because they're helping push his agenda along. Not just his, it's the elite. He's in the club and we're not invited, alright? Because this is all about the Hegelian dialectic. The reason why they need people like Elon Musk coming out in support of the truckers and people rising up, which if this happened in 2019, perhaps we could have slowed things down, but I seriously doubt it. They had every possible scenario mapped out through quantum computing, anything that would have occurred as far as the people rising up would have been dealt with, and they had a plan for it. That I have no doubt, my friends. So of course he's in support of it. But for those that don't realize that what he's doing in the background, I did a video right here. about his Tesla. Rise of the AI machine world, Tesla, simulation reality. I mean, it's only got 105 views. I mean, that's unbelievable. It's actually on my backup channel as well. But this shows in great detail how he actually developed the learning program, the artificial intelligence that goes ahead and does the driving for humanity. They don't need us anymore, okay? Because everything that robotics can do does it better than humans, and AI is smarter than the collective intelligence of every human on Earth combined, including those from the past. That's how intelligent this is. So let's take a look at this, because this is where it started. As far as not false flags. False flags have been going on for as long as we can look back through recorded history or his story. But the false flag that took place on the 11th of September of 2001 was broadcast around the world on television. Why would they choose Manhattan? Because Manhattan is like an epicenter. It's like a nerve point, a nexus point where all the nerves meet. The beacon, the economic beacon of the world where trade took place. So everybody across the earth, whether they were businessmen or not, know about Manhattan, New York. And when they saw this happening to people across the pond and in other countries, it was as if the entire United States was crumbling before their eyes. But really, it was just a small section in Manhattan. But this was a powerful trance spell that compounded the waves of resonance so that people would further grant their consent. This system cannot clamp down on us without consent. So we got to stop calling things evil and start taking responsibility for ourselves. Because if we did not hand our power and authority over to the government to clamp down on our rights in the name of safety and peace and security, then they certainly could not have gone and added all of those things at the airports, as far as checking your baggage, you can't bring water on, NDAA, the wars that ensued after 9/11. And I fell for this hook, line, and sinker, okay? I'm not beating up anybody here. I fell for this too. Let's have a look.
I hope I live. I hope I live. It's coming down on me. Here it comes. I'm getting behind a car. It's incredible.
Incredible indeed. Okay, so that's why they aired this on national television, because this here, when people saw this right here.
We've seen it from the front angle before, but not from this angle.
Boom. I mean, come on, that is terrifying by any standards. If you saw that happening live on international news, this is worldwide. That's why they chose Manhattan, and that's why they aired it live. 9/11 radically expanded the power of the U.S. government. Yeah, Creepy Joe. Everybody knows about Creepy Uncle Joe. So 2 decades ago, the deadly terror attacks on 9/11 changed nearly all aspects of American life. I would say life basically around the entire earth, imbued with heightened levels of fear. That's because we had an invisible boogeyman called terrorism. The U.S. launched costly, deadly wars. Congress passed sweeping legislation, all by our own consent. Us, we, the people, as a collective. I'm not saying you or I in particular, but as a collective, we granted the consent to the government to start to take away our rights, slowly but surely. And they do it so slowly that eventually you wind up looking just like this here at the White House. Okay, President Biden's implementing a 6-pronged comprehensive national strategy that employs the same science-based approach that was used to successfully combat previous variants of COVID-19 earlier this year. Well, of course, we may want to go ahead and blame creepy Joe Biden, Uncle Joe, on all of this, but this comes right back to, guess who? Donald Trump. Because right here, yeah, they're trying to put him in jail. So Trump calls for the biggest protest ever held if they go ahead and start to prosecute him again. This is the perfect wrestling match. All that politics are, and I'm saying this, guys, not to be offensive to people that love this man or offensive to people that hate this man, because it doesn't matter. They are two wings of the same bird, okay? Trump calls for the biggest protest ever in D.C. of prosecutors investigating him do anything illegal 1 day ago. The Hill, 2 days ago, Trump calls for protest if prosecutors do anything illegal in targeting him. The Hill. It goes on and on and on. 3 hours ago from MSNBC News, why Trump calls for protests against prosecutors is worrying. The New York Times, 12 hours ago, Trump's words and deeds reveal depths of his drive to retain power. This is actually like going back to 2016 when it was the lion Trump versus the witch Hillary. I mean, this is exactly like WrestleMania 2 now fast approaching in 2024. Or at least they're planting the seeds for it. Why are they planting the seeds for it? For this piece of fine gold right here. What is LOOSH, or spiritual energy? Well, they need to maximize the LOOSH feeding Elohim fallen LOOSH heat. What is LOOSH? Spiritual energy. That's the whole reason why they inject hope, such as for people that are caught up in this Hegelian dialectic, why they're now injecting Trump into the mix. Because they expect, with the white hats coming from QAnon, that everybody's going to be arrested and the world's going to go back to the former years. But this is just an absolute joke. It proves now that even President Trump was walking lockstep with the New World Order, because before, guys, he was against it, and now he is for it. Even though he did push Operation Warp Speed, he's now singing a new tune. Let's have a listen to what Trump now says about getting the boosters. A 180-degree turn since what he did when he was president.
I've taken it. I've had the booster. Many politicians, I watched a couple of politicians be interviewed, and one of the questions was, did you get the booster? Because they had the vaccine. And they're answering it like, in other words, the answer is yes, but they don't want to say it. Because they're gutless. You got to say it. Whether you had it or not, say it.
Trump there boosting vaccines on OAN last Tuesday. It's a significant shift for a former president who once doubted if we even needed boosters, but it's a message his allies and advisors welcome. They're privately urging the former president to be more full-throated in taking credit for and promoting the shots as he considers a rematch against Biden. That analysis co-written by NBC News senior political analyst Jonathan Allen, who joins me now.
Okay, so he's singing a whole new tune now, and that's because it doesn't matter whether you have Donald Trump in office or if you have creepy Uncle Joe in office. They are two wings of the same bird. They're both taking their orders from the criminal elite and walking in lockstep. And everything that we are witnessing now on the world stage is actually been completely scripted, right down to even the wars that are about to take place. Now, let's listen to this, because also Donald Trump, if anybody doesn't think that he's a hypocrite and a liar, let's listen right here, because this debate should have been on pay-per-view. Let's listen to Hillary Clinton and then the response. Almost so perfectly scripted, I was entertained. Despite even at this time, I knew darn well that this was all BS nonsense. Let's continue to listen real briefly as to what Donald Trump said he was going to do to Hillary Clinton if he was president at the time during this debate.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail. Because you'd be in jail.
Whoa, that was perfect. Because you'd be in jail. How perfectly orchestrated was that? And then once he became president, now here he is, Let's listen to what he has to say then. Is this where he's going to announce that he's got the indictment ready to go through the Justice Department to put the Clintons in jail for all of the illegal activities that they have done throughout their entire lives, it seems? Well, let's listen to what he says. Maybe he's going to put him in jail.
Because I was very honored, very, very honored, when I heard that President Bill Clinton and Secretary Hillary Clinton was coming today, and I think it's appropriate to say.
Wow, he's honored. He's honored. He's not honored to talk about the indictment that he worked up with the Justice Department. He's honored that they are there. These people are all applauding themselves. That's all they care about. They're actually installed by the elite, is what they are. And here they are just applauding their success at just playing along in the whole world stage. It's such a joke. I have a hard time keeping a straight face. If you could see me, you'd see that. But let's listen as to what he says next. Is he going to put her in jail or no?
I'd like you to stand up. I'd like you to stand up.
Now look at them as they all applaud themselves. They're not applauding Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. They're applauding what they pulled off. They pulled off the greatest psyop.
And honestly, there's nothing more I can say because I have a lot of respect for those two people. So thank you.
Wow, there's nothing else he could say because he has a lot of respect for those people. That's a big different story compared to what he had before that. Now here he is right here. Let's look at Donald Trump. Who is he?
I am the chosen one. I am the chosen one. I am the chosen.
Yeah, I've heard that before from many other presidents. So here's Trump. Trump is looked upon as Cyrus the Great, who is to oversee the construction of the Third Temple. Well, he even has his own shekel temple coin. They look at him as the Elias of the Jews. Yeah, he did create the Third Temple through Operation Warp Speed. Of course, through here we go, on the White House, how they now have it all set to go. Vaccinating the unvaccinated. If you want to read this, I'll leave the link in the box, but basically it's saying the president announced vaccination requirements for federal government in July and called it private sector to do more to encourage vaccinations as well. Since that time, employers, schools, nursing homes, restaurants, hospitals, and cities in all 50 states have announced new vaccination requirements. All right, so yeah, nothing is changing. Even Donald Trump now is walking in lockstep with this, okay? So here it is. This is the Third Temple. The Jews look at him as the Elias of Israel, all right, who's to oversee the construction of the Third Temple. Again, 22 base pairs. 22 base pairs makes 44. You add the third strand. That's the third strand of DNA, making you 3, 2, 2. That is what making the Third Temple within the human host means. He's not actually building a third. They may actually build a physical Third Temple, but it's only part of the end game. Okay? Here's Donald Trump, and I'm hitting on him for a specific reason because I am so sick of people looking at this guy like he's the savior of humanity. He is an absolute joke. He's owned and run by Israel. Donald Trump boasts of his greatest achievement award, the Jewish National Fund Tree of Life Award. This award to Donald Trump from Israel is only given to the most highly regarded of the Kabbalists. If Trump was actually who he proclaims to be, why does his office have an entire wall dedicated to his awards from Israel? That's a good question. Well, here's his temple shekel. Here's the Sias Balfour Trump Declaration. Yeah, pretty interesting. And then, of course, he's king over the earth, right? Judgment. There's the judgment card. Well, let's take a look and a listen at what David Goldberg had to say about this and Trump declaring himself to be king of Israel. Exactly about 6 weeks or so after this man died for revealing Project Pogo and Project Zypher and the track tag and ID program. Let's listen.
The memos are White House internal memos that discuss a wide range of things in terms of Trump's meeting with rabbis, discussions with Netanyahu over the phone. And one of the memos says that Donald Trump will have to declare himself King of Israel publicly. This is part of the process for them. It doesn't, there's no strategic reason for it. It is symbolic for them. Trump is going to declare himself King of Israel at some point. I don't know how, but they're talking about it in these memos over and over again. When he's going to do it, why they want him to do it, which again is symbolic. It has no strategic purpose, apparently. It is part of the process of the end game.
The end game, indeed. August 21st of 2019. Okay, David Goldberg's testimony was in June of 2019. Well, he said in the memos they were saying he needs to declare himself King of Israel. It has no strategic meaning. It is just happens to be part of the end game, which tells us that they are forcing Revelation end time prophecy. I'm not the only one saying this. Stephen Ben-Nun from Israeli News Live, a very well established Believers YouTube channel, and he even says it, and I don't even know if he realizes what he's saying. He says that Israel is truly forcing Revelation end time prophecy, just like they are using the book of Revelation as a script. Okay? Here again, it doesn't matter who's in office. If it was Hillary, if it was Biden, if it was Trump, what they're doing is walking lockstep with the Ashkenazis placed in Israel. Right here you can take a look, because I did an interview with Crater Earth USA, Lou Fior, a friend of mine, and I talked about LOOSH energy. I talked about the sentient entities, the demon archetype, and what it's all about. I've never once looked up LOOSH. I've never once looked up any of this. Okay, this is just a part of me. This is just knowledge that has been delivered to me through all of the years of walking in the spirit of truth, the spirit of truth. I'm a born-again believer in the resurrected Christ. I was reborn in January of 2004. Now, I don't feel like reading all of this here, guys. Let's listen to what LOOSH energy really is.
LOOSH is the spiritual energy contained within each and every one of us. It is a life force residing within every living and non-living thing. Humans, plants, animals, and the universe all contain their own individual spiritual energy. This energy can transfer between two or more objects. The term LOOSH was first introduced by Robert Monroe, relating to the emotional energy radiated by animals and humans. Monroe's experiments focused on pain and suffering, and therefore only the negative spectrum of spiritual energy was examined. The entire spectrum, however, holds varying frequencies, similar to those of radio waves. Some frequencies are higher than others. The human consciousness can be trained to focus on the higher, more uplifting frequencies. The highest vibrational frequency can be felt when we are in love. Love is the purest emotion. When in love with another person, we see life in a different perspective. We view it as if it's wonderful and we can do no wrong. The emotion of love is pure, true, and divine. When we are in love, everything seems brighter and more joyous. Our happiness overpowers any negative obstacles presented on our path. Life becomes joyous and exciting. On the opposite scale, the lowest spiritual energy is that of non-life-threatening fear, worry, or hate. This can include a fear of debt or lack of social acceptance. These lower vibrations are a concept that we have adopted. They are not a natural state of being and drain energy, causing tiredness and irritability, difficulty in concentrating, making decisions, being creative, and happy. LOOSH is personal to each and every one of us. Our happiness is provided through our individual perspective and may not match others. Some enjoy walking in nature, although others may not due to a fear of meeting dangerous, local wildlife. The personal nature of spiritual energy and the inability to categorize it results in a difficulty to scientifically understand it. Scientists find it difficult to define loving feelings, although they may have had some personal experience. Spiritual energy is present in our consciousness as well as our subconscious. It is contained within every thought. In modern-day society, human beings increasingly function using the programmed egoic mind. Believe it or not, we have all been programmed. As humans get fixated on routines, an autopilot mode is sustained for increasing stretches of time. The egoic mind becomes familiar with routine journeys as well as repetitive actions and has the ability to control your body, enabling you to complete familiar tasks. This reduces the need to be fully consciously aware of your actions. Of course, in life-threatening situations, the egoic mind will release control back to our conscious awareness to deal with the situation at hand. The human race has access to the deeper levels of the mind, which triggers a heightened spiritual vibration. The higher the vibration, the more clarity is gained and happiness becomes sustainable.
Okay, so I apologize that I had to play from a robotic voice, but LOOSH energy is the actual plasma that it's like a biophoton, except LOOSH energy is a plasma that the negative LOOSH energy, which is at a lower vibration, just like the good side, and then you have the dark side. You can go to the light or you can go to the darkness. The light is love and laughter and peace and balance. The dark side is anger, hate, fear, worry, doubt, all of those. So the lower the vibration, the lower the frequency of this spiritual LOOSH energy that we can broadcast as a plasma, the dark Kabbalists, the black magicians, can use that dark energy as it gets condensed and compounded through resonance. It acts as a portal, a spiritual portal, to allow the demons and the archons to actually come through, just like a portal or vortex. That is why they use SRA, satanic ritual abuse, because the more trauma, pain, and vasovagal shock that they can create through the individual, through the victim, the more dark entities, black matter, spirits, sentient, demonic entities, the archons and the demons can come through and even inhabit that host vessel. As it honeycombs the mind, it can actually create multiple personalities or a Jekyll and Hyde type situation based on LOOSH energy alone. That is what the black magicians use to work with, is through dark energy. Now the positive side of LOOSH, the highest vibration would be love, humor, okay, the positive things that we look at in life rather than the dark side, just like the Force in Star Wars. That's why, if you guys would like to listen to a half-hour call of me talking about sentient entities, the demon archetype, and negative attachments, which all of this, the negative attachments which create that oppressive feeling upon you and make you feel depressed and worthless, click on this link right here under the community tab. Just click on this tab here, right here, this link. It's at current point. When I do the call-in, it's about a half hour, and you'll hear some of my own testimony and a much greater in-depth discussion about LOOSH energy, sentient entities, and the demonic archetype, okay? So that's what LOOSH energy is we all broadcast it. It's very much like a plasma. And that's why for people that have their first eye, which is the pineal, wide open, you can actually see this black matter. That's why LOOSH energy, when it's in its most condensed form of deep, deep negative emotional charge, it then takes on its own sentient awareness. It develops a consciousness, not a conscience. It doesn't have any feelings for anything one way or the other, but it latches on to the human host and drains through the auric field, and then you begin to feel weak, depressed, depleted, and then you become lunch for these energy vampires. Now, somebody who had left a comment saying, hey, the King Christ our Redeemer, or Jesus if you will, is coming. Yes, okay, that's great. That means that you're at a point that you're waiting for the Messiah. You're waiting for a Savior. All the work I have done has proven. We are in Project Bluebeam. Look at the frequency waves coming off of this simulated moon. This is what's called a lunar simulator. What's mounted on this technological monster is what's called a gyrotron or a cyclotron. And it's just like a cathode ray tube. So that's why people are actually in a state of trance, because the TV itself has a cathode ray tube and it broadcasts a pulse. At least the older televisions did. Probably not the ones now. But what they did is by going ahead and putting these cathode ray tubes on these simulated celestial objects that create this pulse, it puts people into a trance state. Look at this. These are holographic lasers. This is a cloaking field. This is a cloud formation that's made out of ionized metals such as barium, strontium, and aluminum. They ionize the metals with electromagnetic frequencies. It gains or removes an electron, and then it becomes a plasma field. Then they use autonomous micro drones to create all of this holographic cloaking technology to turn the sky into a holography screen so they could truly project onto it what they want you to see or cloak what they don't want you to see. These would be what's called free space optical communications lasers. These are being broadcast into individual people's homes. These are what's called information weapons. They were supposedly banned, as well as chemtrailing. Well, all of these exotic weapon systems, none of them have been banned. And that's why you guys need to go onto my channel and take a look at the playlist so that you can get caught up to speed. If you're new to my channel, synthetic telepathy, touches torture. I did a 7th-month investigation to prove that the antennas were in the trees. They actually built their kill grid up here, and I show many, many times throughout my videos, even right here, ether, Hades, the apocalypse, the directed energy being broadcast all over the place. Our house is being bombarded night and day. I have blown Project Bluebeam out of the fucking water. There is no way anybody can tell me that the King of Kings and Lord of all is going to be punching through the clouds at any time. No, it's going to be a fake, holographic, projected coming of the kingdom. Watch right here. I need you guys to take a look at this playlist here. Project Bluebeam, V2K technology, as well as Depopulation Agenda 2030, AIMK Ultra Behavior Modification Technology. I have done so much work on this. The Millennial Kingdom, Timeline Deception, Synthetic Telepathy, Touches Torture, the Night's Watch for the last 3 years. Nobody is going to be able to tell me that the King of Kings and Lord of all is coming to rescue us out of the clouds. So that's why the next video is going to be on the timeline deception, and it's going to be probably at least one video. I'll probably do like a half-hour video on it. Then I'll do another one, and then I'm going to have a guest on to put the final nail in the coffin. And if I continue on YouTube after that, it's just going to be on topics that I want to discuss. On that, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the video, because right here at 4 minutes and 4 seconds, 44. Wow, that sounds familiar. At 4 minutes and 4 seconds, what a coincidence. 4-4. Oh my gosh. Here comes at 0.25%. Here are the holographic plates. I've already done all this work. I've shown the holographic plates in the trees. I've shown the patents. I mean, it's ridiculous that now they even show an IPEC Goat 2 at 4 minutes and 4 seconds, the coming of the false Messiah who blows fire onto the earth in the sight of men. And you could even see he's translucent. Now he's going to blow fire. That is a holographic projection. The kingdom of Christ already occurred. We are now at the end of the age of Pisces, and we are now entered the age of Aquarius. The Messiah said he would be with us until the end of the age, and that age has come and passed. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'll see you real soon. Take care and God bless.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day,